latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Telling you guys a bit of a review on kind of an updated product for the 22 season. This from Zempire is the Evo TXL V2. So the V2 essentially means version 2, so it sort of supersedes the previous Evo that we've kind of known and loved, but with a sort of few kind of updates. The main kind of sort of headline news really from an update point of view is that they've actually kind of now put sky windows in the actual tent to allow a bit more light. Also what you find is that they've got a new kind of multi-system bedroom section, which is really quite smart, that allows you to create different flexibility in how you almost sleep people at the back, but still keeping that level of privacy as well. So it's definitely more versatile in that sense. And we've also got a few things internally which I will go through in just a moment. As you see it now, I've actually got set up with the sort of the roof sort of front wall kit. So that's the bit to enclose the front of it. This is typically a very open fronted tent, but the Evo has probably been by far and away Zempire's best kind of model in their range, just because it hits a great price point. It's kind of got that Zempire ethos where it's a case of it's all about quality and certain key features. So that's one thing you would certainly find people who have Zempire love and breathe the brand, just because it's all about making the best product possible, really, almost irrespective of price, which you do see in kind of the nitty-gritty sort of bits about it. So what we got here is actually kind of Zempire's, we say, lowest spec level, but for most brands it's actually their highest, so that's where you kind of see them in terms of the foothills. So the tent itself runs with 150D fabric, 6000mm high stranded head, so nice and durable and also waterproof. They've got obviously air, so each beam's done individually and can be pitched on your own in the best part of sort of 11 to 10 minutes, as you can see from our own Attwoolls pitching and packing video. So it means one person like myself can pitch it more happily on their own. So going away for a weekend or even a week, you know, it's quite simple to do so. It's the fine details that you see, like I said, with Zempire that make the difference. Things like you've now got a sort of reflective tints in the storm strap at the front, so when you sort of shine your torch you can quite clearly see. Tinted windows as well gives you that sort of elements of privacy when you've still got visibility in sort of out of the actual tent itself, so that also makes a bit of a difference. Coming from it as sort of a New Zealand kind of design point of view, they are almost extremes of our climate, so they have hotter summers and cooler winters. So again, this tent is kind of equipped for that. So there's plenty of mesh, and in fact there's near enough mesh in every single panel in the tent to get that airflow in, which is certainly going to help with condensation. But as we see, we're kind of getting warmer summers in the UK as well. That also is going to be a big sort of benefit as well. Overall, you've got really nice things like webbing straps for every single point as well, so you can get great tension on there and a bit more security. Low level ventilation, as well as obviously ventilation in the windows as well, and there's sort of a curtain on the inside to make that sort of waterproof to a certain step. And what you can do is really bring it up, the curtain up to that point there, so you still have visibility, but you've got that sort of, you know, sort of barrier against the rain and the wind. With the new V2 front wall kit, they've changed this design slightly as well, so you can also create an entrance point kind of here, it then goes back to here, or of course you can remove it completely. Beautiful big front panel, and actually I think that makes the tent, and certainly when you're inside of it, which we will go to in a second, you almost get like a panoramic view around the front of it, which works really nicely as well. And because it's that sort of tintedness, you don't really need the privacy curtains behind it because there isn't any, but it's that way you just sort of see almost shapes of anything, but I think generally looks really, really smart. With the wall set panel as well, what you also find is you get a mesh one included, which we've kind of got in the model behind us, but you can see that again from any of the links below in the website. So other things that's very renowned kind of in the Zempire range is the ability to kind of what they call gull wing this out. So two poles come included with the wall kit, so you can basically bring this point vertically upwards, create yourself a bit more shelter. So that's the joys of sort of that versatility. Storm straps front and back, like I said, gives really good bracing, and because it's anchored from 2 points means there's one point does both, and the sort of the shape kind of the Evo itself is quite quirky, something a bit different, and what it almost does allow you to do is have better internal height as well. Two side doors sort of complement the front door, both with again have mesh as well, so you can, again, if the weather changes, you can kind of pick and choose kind of where you go, and so that sort of full mesh in there helps that airflow throughout a tent for those sort of warmer days. Even small little details like metal kind of guy runners that are kind of sort of gold coloured just adds a bit more quality. And things like when the bag itself comes in a really nice wide open mouth bag, You've got little sort of not ratchet straps, but they are webbing straps to get tension in, so it's much easier than, say, an off bit of cord that you would probably get with other brands. So it's those small little details that kind of add up to make the whole tent itself. But so let's have a look on the inside and talk for a few more features that the Evo V2 has to offer. So now inside, so you can probably get a bit more better grasp for certainly the way it's laid out, and there's kind of 3 kind of zones that you've got in here. So you definitely got more kind of like your cooking sort of zone at the front, and as the tent comes as standard kind of more of an open side of things, it allows you the flexibility to enclose it as and when you see fit. Your main living area, and then you've obviously got the sleeping area right at the back itself. So let's kind of get down to the basics of this as well. It works really nicely. The one thing that also I think that for me is a bit of a plus point with kind of the Evo range as a collective is that for the size of the tent itself, it's actually quite small and compact. If you look at, say, the weights, it's just a shade over about 32 kilograms, which for a 6-man tent like this, which is quite big, is quite impressive. And it's especially when you're talking a 150D, you know, it's quite a substantial fabric. And the way they've kind of managed to sort of save weight in many ways is with their sort of system here with the air tubes. There's no kind of casing or anything like that. It toggles in place, which helps to reduce material, and in many ways helps to reduce problems going forward. So things like that is a big bonus. Also, kind of the lovely kind of soft feel material they've used for the bedrooms give you sort of really nice darkness with the new all black bedroom. But again, doesn't mean to add unnecessary weight to the actual bag, nor also keep the pack size a bit smaller. So the front area, perfect sort of place for cooking. You've got enough room to put sort of like a cooking stove out here, more than happily under the amount of coverage, even without kind of the front wall kits. You then move into sort of the main living area, and you've got kind of their 360 door, so its ability to completely seal it up if you wanted to. Alternatively, you can roll it back, and there's 2 parts to the door itself. You've got the normal door that sits behind, and as you would expect with Zempire, kind of that mesh built into it as well, so you can have the maximum amount of ventilation. So in theory, you've got a barrier against sort of bugs regardless of where you go. So you've obviously got a full front mesh door and then 2 on the side. So your first line of defense is always there, and if you want to, of course, you can buy the wall kit at the front, which would also be a mesh material. So you could have first layer, second layer into the main living area. So we can untoggle this like so, zip it up as we kind of wanted to. Alternatively, have the full-on mesh layer like that. So again, you can see you've got your live against there, and then these kind of nice and neatly fit into the pockets located down there. Failing that, you want it a bit more of an open plan, not a problem. Open that fully up, and again, that neat entirely pocks away into a big storage pocket down there. You haven't got to worry about it. That helps to open the tent up a bit more, and you can see kind of certainly from space side of things and a height point of view. I mean, I'm 6'2", can stand up quite happily in the middle, and that kind of more sort of slightly boxier feel helps to kind of maximise your space a little bit. Admittedly, it's not quite as boxy as some other brands, but it's still a decent sized usable space. Key features you also see in the tent as well are things like zip-up curtains. So zip-up curtains as well with the new sky kind of roof lights. You can actually completely get your coverage against there when you don't want to. Failing that, you want to get a little bit of lighting. Obviously put that down a little bit, fold the part over itself. You've got your privacy, but still a little bit of light coming in as well, which is nice. Alternatively, roll it all the way down. So you've got just a window panel, or go even further, and it opens up that fresh mesh vent. Each one has own little kind of toggle point, just to keep it kind of nice and neatly up so, and you can just neaten up again. So ventilation point there as well, and a low level ventilate to help that circulation of air. Other things to sort of bear in mind is sort of key things like hanging points for a lantern. So you've got a little kind of clip located there as well. So if you want to hang suspension off that, more than happy to. Little Velcro tabs are located down here to cable entry points on either side. And you've got sort of 3 in total. So you've got 1 on the left-hand side behind the bedroom, 2 at the front right corner here, and the 3rd's also in the front part here as well. And I'll pick the camera up in a bit to give you a bit more of an idea. Now we move back into kind of the new bedroom system. So this is a really sort of bit of a game changer for 22. It gives you flexibility and also means you can adapt to how you camp. We've got the new all black bedroom, so a nice dark bedroom to make sure you hopefully sleep in a bit longer you need to, but you've got multiple different configurations. So I believe we've got up to, I think it's 9 configurations on this model. So you've still got a traditional kind of 2, 2 and 2. It's a 460 width tent, so it means you can fit a double airbed in pretty much every section. But what you have got the ability to do is actually alter yourself. So you can actually make this, whereas previously you make it a 2, 2 and 2 or 4 and 2 by taking out a divider. They've got additional dividers in this now, so in theory what you can do is make this almost like a 3 and a 2. So you can by removing this divider here, basically it zips along the top and along the bottom, but then it's sort of toggled on the side. So you can open this up, untoggle, zip that back, and that rolls all the way to the back and open. So that way you can change your configuration up. So if we, for example, take this little card we've got here, you can then have it say a sort of a 5 and a 2. You've got a central divider, so you almost have a dead 50-50 split. You can make a smaller bedroom here, a master. So as I said, the possibilities are endless. We've got our own separate video kind of going through all the different configurations you can go with the new kind of all system. Small little details as well, things like little cable entry points in the bedroom itself, so you can have a lantern hanging up quite happily inside as well as out, so you can run your cables directly in if you wish to. The zip dividers between all the sections as well makes it feel like it's a separate bedroom, and certainly the darker bedrooms is a big improvement going forward. It really does help to kind of minimise sort of early morning light. What they've also done is they've changed the pockets as well, so the new kind of pockets itself now feature, rather than on the bedroom, on the tunnel section. So in fact, let's get the camera and have a little wander around. Here we go. So probably get a bit better of a grasp for it. So like I said, flexibility, a much darker bedroom, and you've got the inability with the zips, a really nice big mesh vent at the top. You can close all the dividers like that and make it feel like a completely separate bedroom, as we talked about. I quite like a little pop in the zips as well, nice little bit of colour difference. What they've also done, like I said, is make the additional pockets in the side there. So like I said, you've got storage built into that central compartment, and it's on both sides. So really you're still getting the versatility and usability of those storage pockets, but it's not affecting the bedroom space. And actually with this, if you really want to, you can unzip the whole front of the bedroom open, like I said on that video we've done, just to kind of give you a bit more of an idea on the whole kind of part of it. Other things you can look at as well as additional things like roof protectors if you want that additional part. But on all round it sits really nicely. You've also got a back vent right at the back there, sort of not only low level, but that middle section there is a full vent that zips up to allow the airflow to come straight through the back of the tent. So if you're looking for sort of that tent you want to take away, you know, in a warm day in the UK, they pretty much make the best kind of vented tents on the market when it comes to sort of the tents as a whole. High visibility guidelines as we talked about, but overall it's a really nice model. And then I've got the door kind of situated a little bit in, so you can kind of come and go as you please. The other thing obviously which was new for 21 is the fact that you've got additional kind of zip-on parts, so you can zip actually a gazebo, the aerobase gazebo, onto the front of it, which actually we've got in the showroom, and that works really nicely because it creates you almost an extra section to the front, so that's also worth a look. But overall I think a really nice improvement. Certainly the dark bedroom I think is going to be a big hit for the 22 season going onwards, and there's a few of the other things they've done as well I think just kind of finishes off what was a very popular tent. So by all means, if you have any more questions or queries, feel free to check the link below, go straight to our product. We've got all the spec located there as well. And we always love to hear what you have to think about it as well, and what you have to say about it. So feel free to contact us or comment in the box below. But that in essence is kind of our video review on the new Zempire Evo TXL V2.